You've been diving deep into the value of math in education, and we are right there with you. Ever wonder why algebra just hits different than remembering historical dates?
It's a question that has puzzled minds for centuries.
Today we're uncovering the surprising reasons why math matters, beyond just practical skills. We've got some excerpts here that really get into this debate about why we even teach math.
It does seem like everyone agrees it's important, but the why is a bit more of a head-scratcher.
Right. And our source jumps right into this idea of math being mental gymnastics, kind of like it strengthens your brain.
Yes, a very tempting metaphor. For a long time, people believed that these mental muscles honed by math would automatically make you sharper in other areas of life, too.
Like if you can conquer a page full of equations, then analyzing a historical event should be a piece of cake.
Precisely. But here's where it gets interesting. The source points out that this might not actually be the case.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit.
Just because you're a whiz in one area doesn't mean you automatically excel in others. It's like assuming a star basketball player would also dominate on the soccer field. Different skills, different playing field.
That makes sense.
And to illustrate this, the source even quotes a staff officer who found math surprisingly unhelpful in everyday life, except, of course, for those dreaded exams.
So we see that even someone immersed in math might find it surprisingly irrelevant to daily life. This begs the question, if not just for practicality, what is math's value?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And our source points to something much deeper. It highlights the inherent beauty and truth of mathematics as a system of logic and beauty that exists independently of us.
So instead of just practical applications, it's about connecting with something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly.
I love that. It reminds me of that feeling you get when you stand on a mountaintop taking in a breathtaking view. It's almost a spiritual experience. Is that what we're talking about here with math?
You're spot on. The source actually uses this wonderful phrase, susum corda, which means lift up your hearts. It's that sense of awe and wonder you get when you encounter something truly profound, something that transcends the everyday. And the source argues that math, when understood deeply, can evoke that same feeling.
Wow, that's powerful. So it's less about what can math do for me and more about what can math help me understand about the universe and my place in it.
Exactly. It's about appreciating the inherent elegance and universality of mathematical laws, like encountering a hidden order in the universe, a secret code that unlocks deeper truths.
That's a pretty compelling argument for why math matters, even if it doesn't always help us calculate a tip quickly. But even with this grand perspective, our source doesn't want us to go overboard, right? It's not about becoming a math hermit, right?
Absolutely not. The source emphasizes balance. It stresses the importance of a well-rounded education, like a balanced meal. You need your vegetables, but you don't want a plate of only broccoli.
So math is an important ingredient, but so are history, literature, art, all those other vital nutrients for the brain.
Precisely. And this brings us to an interesting anecdote from the source about none other than Sir Isaac Newton.
Oh yes, the cat door story. What a perfect example of what we were just talking about.
It is, isn't it? Newton, the genius who revolutionized our understanding of physics, had a cat, as many geniuses do. And he apparently cut two holes in his door, a large one for the cat and a smaller one for the kitten.
Two separate holes. But you'd think a physics mastermind like Newton would have realized one cat-sized hole would do the trick for both of them.
Right. It seems even brilliant minds like Newton's operate within their areas of expertise. And sometimes that hyper-focus can lead to overlooking the simplest solutions in other areas.
So even Newton, with all his mathematical prowess, might miss a few practical things here and there.
It really highlights that expertise in one domain doesn't necessarily translate to mastery in others. It reinforces the need for a multifaceted approach to learning, just as the source suggests.
And this makes me think about that part where the source emphasizes how mathematics depend upon the teacher rather than upon the textbook. Maybe it's not just what we teach, but how we teach it that can make all the difference.
That's a crucial point. The source criticizes the way math is often presented as a series of dry formulas and equations. It argues for bringing those captain ideas to life, making the subject relatable, engaging, and even awe-inspiring.
It's like anyone can learn a list of historical dates, but a truly great history teacher can make you feel like you are actually there experiencing history firsthand.
Exactly. And that's what's often missing in math education. It's about igniting that spark of curiosity, helping students see the inherent beauty and wonder in the subject.
So instead of just memorizing formulas, it's about exploring the language of the universe itself.
Now you're getting it. It's about fostering that sursum corda, that lifting of the heart, that sense of wonder and excitement that comes from engaging with something truly profound.
And honestly, that's a goal we should strive for in any subject, not just math, right?
Couldn't agree more.
It really does change how you look at things, doesn't it? And speaking of changing how we see things, our source mentions something really interesting. It basically says that math should be studied for its own sake, not just for how it makes us better thinkers in general.
Yes. The source digs into how mathematics has its own intrinsic value. It's not just a means to an end, but a fascinating world unto itself. And while it can cultivate broader cognitive skills, the source reminds us to appreciate the beauty of math for what it is.
So it's like appreciating a beautiful piece of music even if you don't play an instrument yourself.
A great analogy. And the source also acknowledges those who are naturally drawn to math, the born mathematicians, as it were. They're captivated by the intricacies of numbers and equations, just like some people are drawn to music or art.
It's like anything else, really. Some people gravitate towards certain fields, and math seems to hold that same power to ignite a real passion in something.
And the source emphasizes that these passions shouldn't be stifled. If someone finds themselves drawn to the complexities of mathematics, they should be encouraged to explore those interests.
But I'm sensing a but coming.
You know me too well. Of course, while individual passions should be nurtured, the source reminds us to maintain a sense of balance. Math shouldn't become the be-all and end-all of a well-rounded education.
Right, because we don't want to live in a world where only math geniuses are considered successful.
Exactly. A fulfilling life requires a broader perspective. We need individuals who can navigate the complexities of history, literature, art, and the human experience as a whole.
So it all comes back to that well-rounded education, that balanced diet of subjects and ways of thinking that we were talking about earlier.
Precisely. It's about nurturing well-rounded individuals capable of critical thinking and appreciating diverse perspectives.
This has been so insightful. For those listening who want to hold on to a key idea, what would you say is the most important thing to remember from our deep dive today?
That math isn't just about crunching numbers or solving for X. It's about encountering a different way of thinking, a system of logic and beauty that exists independently of us.
It's about expanding our perspective and appreciating the inherent elegance of the universe.
Yes. And if math, often seen as rigid and inflexible, can reveal such hidden order and beauty, what other unseen patterns and connections might we be missing in our everyday lives simply by not looking through the right lens?
Now, that is something to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.